Welcome to Just the Guys Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. What up? Welcome to Just the Guys Podcast. We're doing an impromptu live stream tonight. It's New Year's Eve. And Reason is back on the stream. Reason has been missing. He had to do Funny Flu for about 3 weeks now.
I tell you.
Hey man, how's your recovery, man? How's everything?
Well, the recovery is fine. For those, just a series of unfortunate events for the ones who are a fan of the series. Had family members who got sick, and then there was work stuff, and then there was just doing funny stuff, so to speak, but we're getting back straight now. Everything is getting back to normal. I've missed you guys, man. I missed you, bro. Absolutely. I haven't seen you in a minute, man.
Yeah, definitely miss you too, bro. But this is kind of a throwback, man, because this, you and I is actually how a lot of this got started, man. Just kind of, I know we're going into a new year, but what year was that? 2019, 2018?
I thought it was 2019, 2018, something
2018,
I thought it was 2019 Yeah,
man.
I believe. Yeah.
And we started the Great Thoughts Matter podcast, where we would just take a word and, make timeless content, and we're all gonna publish and release that stuff pretty soon, man. So that this is kind of a throwback to that. That's how we got into podcasting and things like that. But guys, make sure you hit that like button, share, thumbs up. I normally have a monologue to come out, to open the show with. But tonight, I do want to talk a little bit about culture. Like, what is culture? And I think it is an important conversation to have, because when you talk about communism and the influence of communism, there is a cultural revolution. I've been reading or going through a book called Mao's America by Shi Van Fleet, who she spoke in front of the school board down in Loudoun County with, all the CRT and things like that infiltrating in the schools. But she wrote a book to talk about how there was an actual cultural revolution that took place in China. Like, there was a date, like May 16th. I don't know the year, but it was May 16th. And there was a date. Mao launched a cultural revolution that really shaped and changed everything. It's how the Communist Party came to, that regime really came to power. And what that culture did was it took everything. I mean, the education system, sent people to the countryside to be, in slave camps and all these things that it did. But it was, like I said, a cultural revolution. So I really want to, again, just point that out in the context that we have to understand what culture or look at what culture is, and kind of like, analyze that, because our culture is literally being subverted. And then, we're going to go through it today and respond to a show where Franck Zanu was on the Karen Hunter show. And they're responding to the question about, African Americans have no culture. And I've been thinking about that. Like, what is the culture of African Americans? Now, to me, there's this hierarchy of culture, right? You have American culture, and then within American culture, you can have subcultures, right? But the thing about subcultures is that they can fit in to the national culture, right? Like, there's clearly, like a Chinatown or something like that. Like, there's Chinese culture that fits within American culture, right? You got, the Jewish culture that fits in, in a lot of ways, right? Jewish communities, white people, right? You've got white communities or what have you that fit into, fit into the American culture. But then it seems like a lot of times with Black people, the ones that adopt and fit into the American culture are ostracized from the ones that say they reject it, right? We had, Davon Love on a couple of weeks ago, the socialist, and he's like, you should reject American culture, and that's what makes you no longer black, right? And then you have like these dynamics particularly among black people about rejecting American culture versus accepting it. So, shout out to Do Cheap Chimp, the Great Leap Forward by Mao Zedong. Yep, absolutely. That I believe that was the, the Cultural Revolution. And then politics is downstream from culture, and culture is downstream from belief. So reason. Let's start. Life makes sense when you think logically.
Everything happens
for a reason.
Yeah,
so
man,
what is culture to you, man? What is culture to you, bro?
Well, quite frankly, culture, I think it's relatively basic. Culture is something that I would say that people punish or tolerate, how people react to things, how people deal with things consistently over a long period of time. I think that's what creates culture. I mean, and that can be, quite frankly, in anything. It could be in work. I mean, you know what? If they allow people to slack off at work for a long period of time, and it's allowed and it's tolerated, a culture of something is created at your job.
Gotcha.
You could have, specific things that happen in family, things that go on unchecked for a long period of time eventually become culture. Quite frankly, that's what makes it so difficult, really, to change culture. It's what makes it so difficult, because what is an idea that you come up with that you can say, you know what, this right here will change how the future is for us, for our family, for our society, for our friends, this, that, blah, 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 all that good stuff, for our nation, even to an extent. And you have that idea, the one thing that will always crush any kind of idea, no matter how beautiful, how well put together it is that culture. So culture is that force, and that new idea to change culture is that space. And what happens is, if you don't come with the same amount of force to battle that force that's culture, the culture is going to end up getting, or just wiping out, whatever that new thing is, even if that thing is better. You know what? Eating healthy. If you have a bunch of people that don't eat healthy, and you don't have enough people or idea or thought or to push back in the other direction to say, hey, we need to do this, and you keep chipping and keep chipping and keep chipping. That's the only way things are going to change and get better. So, culture is just what is accepted, punished, tolerated, rewarded over a long period of time.
I mean, so you speak of a long period of time too. I mean, the communists use a phrase or a methodology called the Long March. So it's almost like that idea that you really can't see things changing, right? You can't see that the culture has been, subverted. So how do you, combat that, right? When things appear to be going normally, right? Things don't seem to be changing, right? But then, 10 years from now, you look down the line and you say, wow, this, like, how did we get here?
I get you. There's a wonderful book called Atomic Habits. It's a magnificent book. What it talks about is being 1% better every single day. And if you get 1% better every single day, for a year, you'll be 365% better than when you started in the beginning. And that's true change. So if I take myself and 5 other people whose thought process is the same as mine, all we have to do is get 1% better every single day. And usually you are the sum of the 5 closest people who are around you. So if we are consistent, and that's why pure freedom is strict discipline. I keep saying that. If we are consistent, we end up changing the people who are around us. And it might seem hard, it might seem difficult, but you'll get to a specific point. It's like working out, bro. I remember you specifically telling me something I don't believe. Okay. You told me at the beginning of the year or something like that, you couldn't do 20 push-ups or something to that thing. And to see you bench 300 plus pounds is incredible to me, because what it shows is that after 2 weeks, you probably still didn't see that much of a difference. After 3 weeks, you might have saw, oh, I'm getting a little bit stronger. And you really don't see it until you get into it. I mean, 6 months in, you looked in the mirror probably one day and said, holy cow, I didn't notice this transformation taking place. You just have to believe in the fact that things are going to change and be consistent. Will Smith said, putting one brick at a time down, you'll eventually build that wall. And I'm not a big fan of Will Smith, but there's some truth to that. Every day, one brick at a time, a couple of months from now, you'll see half a wall built and you'll be like, holy cow, this is a beautiful thing. And that's just what the deal is.
So, guys, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe to Just the Guys podcast. Of course, we're on the Metro Conservative Media platform. Poppin' Politics just went live. They just got off. So, again, check them out. Also, Christian Conservative. She will be back live, I think, either, what did she say? Sunday, because Thursday is New Year's Day.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, what you're talking about though, because it thinks to me, what happened to the culture of, I guess, protecting, what we have, because it seems like we've again allowed so much in as our culture has been very permissive, right? Again, when you look at our education system, and I was thinking about this the other day, man. What does it say about the culture of a place like Baltimore City, right? We sued Baltimore City Public Schools for the social promotion, grade changing, those type of things. But I was thinking the other day about the church in relation to all this, right? The church is the church. You will have kids that are graduating high school that can't read, right?
Yes.
And then you go to a church, right, in the same community, same neighborhoods, right? If they can't read, they can't read the Bible. So then the pastors are being complicit in the illiteracy of the people. Right? So what kind of culture are we perpetuating if something like literacy, right, in a place like Baltimore isn't valued? And this is not just in the school and education system, but it's the church. And what I was playing on ChatGPT, so forgive me, but I was playing on ChatGPT and I was like, because one of the tools that the slaveholder used, they would preach from the Bible or share the Bible with the slaves, but they would omit certain passages, certain phrases and things like that to maintain the institution of slavery.
Turn the other cheek.
Now,
be forgiving, all of that good stuff.
Now, yeah, but think about this. Now, if the pastor knows the children are illiterate, then isn't the church creating the same culture as the slave master?
Well, you have to really think about the fact that does the pastor, we have to think about the fact that
and I'm just questioning what kind of culture allows this. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm trying to, because all right. First, we have to ask, does the pastor care? Okay, that's number one. First, we have to ask, does the pastor care? And the reason I'd say that is because I'm trying to stay transparent here. Okay, I'm trying to stay transparent here. I'm not trying to be anecdotal of any kind. I'm trying to stay transparent here. Okay, let's use Baltimore City. All right, the first thing that I'm sure the pastors of the black church are thinking about is not, can the children read? It's not. It's, first I need to give a specific word out that will keep the financial majority happy and and just not bothered, not rubbed the wrong way. I have to preach to people what they want to hear to keep them here. Okay. And that has nothing to do with how smart these children are. They're not thinking that first. Okay. They're thinking, what do I do to keep these people here? That's the main thing. All right. Then after that becomes all this subset of stuff that creates the culture of a church. And that is um what my constituents, the people that are listening to me, what they can get away with, how I can get around what the Bible says to make it so everybody's not rubbed the wrong way. It's finding the specific things in the Bible to create the narrative that will make everything seem to be, you don't want to get rid of the people. So to not, and forgive me how I'm going about this, because I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus or anything like that. I'm just trying to be,
no, just be honest, bro.
No, I'm trying to be honest without throwing anyone. Okay, so I've been to places in the past in which I know for a fact that the literacy of the children, the parents being parents being together, people being married, accountability, all of that good stuff. If something is done wrong, how that person teaching the men how to be this way, and you know what, if you do this, these are the consequences and the results of that, because a lot of people culturally grew up without a culture of family. So they're getting into the church now, and what they're doing is they're trying to find that through church, because 80% of our culture is of a religious standing of some sort, whether it's Christian or Jehovah's Witness or Muslim or all of that. We are incredibly religious as a people. And because the people who actually are running these situations, these organizations, know this, they're going to pretty much tell them what they want to hear to continue whatever is being perpetuated in the place.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but isn't that slavery? Isn't that mental slavery?
Well, of course. Absolutely. It 100% is. And the problem is, and the thing that bothers me and annoys me the most about it is the fact that the people can't see it.
I mean, Harriet Tubman said it, right? Yeah, or the phrase attributed to Harriet Tubman. I would have freed more slaves if only they knew they were slaves.
100%. Absolutely.
Right?
I get you. So my question to you is, since we understand this, and so we understand that this is a cult, this church can perpetuate a culture of slavery psychologically. Do we, and I'll say we, because do we want to get out of that?
Is black people?
Yes.
And I think that's the big question about culture that I am curious about, because when I generally, I'm black, right? I generally don't like talking about like black people in a negative way, right? It's not my aim, not my goal, right? But it's one of those things where we live in a country where independence is possible, right? we can be anything we want to be. And there's plenty of examples that we can look to in the past, look to in the present, and see examples of being independent. And one of the things, I think it was Malcolm X who said, economic independence is more important than political independence, or somewhere along that, somewhere along that way. Yet we have so many typically African Americans that are more desiring of political power for aims of control than for economic independence. And
you're saying more?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is what leads to the victim culture, right? Because as long as we have a grievance, as long as we can complain about something, right, we can say, hey, the government needs to fix it. And as long as that cycle continues, there's no need to go out here and achieve economic independence. There's no need to go out here and say, look, if it's up to, if it is to be, it's up to me, right? And I think that plays into the culture. So you're asking the question, is this what we want? I think there has become a culture within the Black community to, that has allowed us to not desire economic independence through the means of hard work, right? I mean, the Smithsonian,
I could get that.
Smithsonian came out with the how to be white. I mean, what is it? The white. What was that chart that came out with? White culture chart, right? Being on time was an element of white culture. Hard work was an element of white culture. Organizing, putting things in order, is an element of white culture. And to me, those aren't necessarily shouldn't be prescribed to a particular race of people. These are just, they didn't invent them. These are things that exist within life. I mean, things can be dirty or they can be clean. These can be out of order. They can be in order, right? You can be on time or not on time, right? These aren't necessarily elements of culture. These are just things that exist in the world, right?
Yes, but they become a part of culture when they are not corrected and they are allowed over a period of time.
Correct.
They become culture. The other side of that is, and you're right, it's how do we get here with as little work as possible. The other side of that is how do we keep the other people that look like us from getting there as well? I mean, so it's and I talk about this a lot. I've said this to Gimpy once. I was like, hey, bro, in the Jewish culture, I truly believe, and I was talking to a guy at work about this as well. It's like, you know what? You have two people, who are raised Jewish, the nationality, all of that, right? You have two of them, and they say, you know what? I want to sell shoes, right? We both create a shoe store, and then we only buy from each other, and we only all of that good stuff, right? Culturally, for us, it's, you know what? You Logic, you want to create a shoe store. I want to create a shoe store, and one of us are trying to make sure that the other person does not succeed.
Right.
It's like, there's enough money. That's what I love about a capitalistic society. There's enough money for everybody. There seriously is. The problem is our mindset is a mindset of absolute and utter destruction, to the point in which, you go to another country, and it's weird how here in the United States we think a two-parent household is like the stable household of, no, you go to other countries and you'll see
a two-parent household is white culture.
And the crazy thing about that, then that's still wrong culture. Yeah. Two-parent household is, I guess, American culture. Because if you step outside the United States, you'll see multi-generations in one house. When I first got here to Maryland, there was a young lady I worked with from India. She was like, yo, dude, yeah, here's what we do. All of us, myself, my husband, our two daughters, my niece, her sister, and her niece and nephew, and her husband, they all live in the same place. They all put their money in one spot. They bought the house that they're in right now. They bought the other house that the niece, the her sister and husband moved into, their kids. They bought that. All five of the cars were bought, and then they got to a point in which they're like, yeah, what we're doing is we're going to leave this house that we're in to our son who's about to get married. The daughter is going to the house that my sister and her husband bought. We're all going back to India. It's like, you know what, we're not even staying here. Like, we're just taking the money and shipping it back to India. So I mean, because we don't see, we're sitting here like, yeah, you're 18 years old, get out. It's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. We're the only group of people that are sitting here like waiting for our children to grow up so that we can get rid of them. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, people think I'm weird when I say, you know what, I will be handing my daughter off to her husband. Like, she'll go from covering to covering. Like, people think that's weird. I'm like, no, if it's not broke, why fix it? But you see, I apparently live a different culture. I also am apparently a traitor to my race for being a free thinker.
But that's one of the things. So shout out to Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super chat. It's all about competition, man. You're right. But that's the thing, right? American culture allows for these subcultures to exist, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you have to, kick your kids out at 18, right? You don't have to do that. And what El Kabong said here, blacks are conditioned to uphold outlaw and that mentality, do anything properly, and you're immediately a coon, right? And what properly I think means is that you do it in a way, you do it the right way, but it's like, it's if you're doing it without the struggle prescribed to black people, right? When you have a conversation
itself,
when you have a conversation, think about this. Amongst you talk to your African American or black friends about opening a business, and you go to them with your business idea or with what you're doing. In general, what is the reception you receive?
In general, what is the okay, so how are we going to, it's always very like, there's what's he trying to get me for, or something like that. There's no, so my father's from Ghana, okay? His mentality is very, 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 it's like, he was like, hey, we've got a lot of family in Virginia. All of them came from Nigeria, Ghana, and all of that. And he was like, yeah, man, here's what we're going to do. We're going to all live together. We're going to all we're going to all build this business. We're going to all put this together. And guess what? No one believes that anyone's going to get gypped. No one believes that anybody's going to steal anything behind their back. No one believes none of that good stuff. They just trust in the fact that they all have the same mindset and mentality. They're all heading in the same direction. And because of that, they're going to achieve whatever goals they have. Whatever craziness that goes on here in the and Nicole, I see you down there. And you've said this before. I'll say it again. I told my daughter the other night. I told my sister the day before yesterday as well. I am so happy to be born in the United States. I really am. At this time, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in any other country. God saw fit for me to be here. But quite frankly, some of the thought processes that are here are like, man, I mean, and I don't think that's a black culture thing I think that's an American culture thing, in which someone says, hey, let's put some money together or let's do this and create a business together. And then not think in the back of their mind that, you know what, you might be screwed by something or by the people that you're with. And here's how weird it is. And I've been talking a lot and I'll shut up, I promise. But here's how weird it is, to the point where it doesn't even have to do with family. Because this Indian young lady that I worked with when I first got here, she said something that was really cool. And I thought it was a cool concept. but it sounds strange here because I know you don't trust a lot of people, this and that, people you don't know. She said, yeah, I met this young lady and her husband. Oh, and they're from our country. Like they're from a town away. They're babysitting our kids. And that's it.
Yeah.
Like that's all it took. All it took was, oh, we're from the same place. You're one town over. That's good enough for me. The trust in that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's just here. It's
I
just.
mean, that's. But I was trying to say, like, when you compare having conversations about let's just say you're in idea phase, right? You're saying you're wanting to start a business, or you're saying you have these ideas of being economically independent. You want to be free. In general, how are those conversations received versus the gossip of the town, or the struggle conversations, right?
I get you. So that depends on who I'm telling you. The people that you are around are those. You are the sum of your 5 closest people. The absolute truth. That's why I don't do the black church anymore, because I don't identify with struggle. I don't. And what's happening is you start talking about doing things outside of the box. I've heard people say, we've done shows for the ladies, and the people are sitting here like, they're like, I don't want to do this because I don't want to lose my food stamps. Or I don't want to do this because, you can't, my son, live with me. I can't have you working to make that much money because you'll affect my Section 8. Like the fact that the mindset is economics independence means that you actually have to do something, that you have to create a plan, that you have to get up out of bed sometimes at 6, 7 in the morning. 6, 7. 6, 7 in the morning, right? you got to get up at that period of time, and you're going to bed at the ass crack of night. Being an entrepreneur is the only job in the world in which you're working 80 hours for 40. You know what I mean? And you have to just have a mindset of being disciplined and doing it. And culturally, when it comes to our culture, you talk to a bunch of people that share our reflection, and you say, you know what? And it's the majority. That's why I can say a bunch of people to say, hey, let's get together. Let's put a plan together. Let's put some money together. Let's focus. Then it becomes, okay, who's going to be in charge of this? Because, quite frankly, I have a problem with authority.
Yeah.
Or like the reason the black church can't get together because everyone's got a different ideology. So who's going to run all of this stuff? So, it's like, I tell you, it's getting us together to do anything is exactly what I said in the very beginning. It's you having an idea, and the one thing that is the enemy of in a strong idea is culture.
Yep. So before we move on to the video, I want to give a shout out to my homie Munir. We've been working on this particular project, EntreBuild AI. Now, this is his company, and he's actually launching a business plan competition for high school to college age youth, in which there's going to be money given out. So there's a $7,500 grand, so $7,500 grand prize to the winner of this business plan competition. Second prize is, I think, $5,000, and then third place prize is $2,500 dollars. But we are looking to build the culture of economic independent youth, right? You just reframe the culture of let's put the ideas out there. Let's create a culture of where it's not just, the crabs in a barrel mentality. Let's create a culture of lifting each other up, because like you said earlier, man, there's enough money out here. So you can go to entrebuildai.com to learn more about that. But yeah, man, that's what we're out here doing, man. And I'm so proud of him and what he's put together. And he's come up with that. He came up with that idea 2 months ago, and now got funding for to launch it, to to put it out there. And so we're working to build that. And man, it's going to be really cool. And just speaking of that, man, I think the theme going into 2026, man, when I talk about economic independence, we are entering into a year where you're talking about America's 250th anniversary, where we talk about America becoming independent. And it's just that Malcolm X idea of political, economic independence is we should be looking to achieve economic independence versus political independence. I think that idea has ultimately been lost, right? Because economic independence is ultimately what creates your freedom, right? When no one can put their thumb on you, when no one can, tell you where to be, when to be there, and also when it comes to the systems that exist, the school system, school boards, these politicians, and the way they're literally robbing you of your economic independence. I think if we have a focus as individuals on that, we'll see so much greater in return. So that's all I'm gonna be talking about all the year next year is just economic independence and celebrating America's independence, because I think those two coincide when it comes to just freedom. I mean, like, imagine you, not having to punch the clock, bro. I imagine me not having to punch the clock, man. It's and granted, man, I like what I do. Far as my job, I'm an engineer and all that stuff. But it's just that thing where, like, man, you can buy the land that you want, protect it. You can, travel where you want. And it's not just, the luxuries of life, is what you can do, like the experiences for your kids, the legacy that you build. So yeah, man, it's just, we're changing the culture. And I think that's all y'all going to hear me talking about in 2026 is economic independence.
And you guys think about what he just said. We're changing the culture. So that means it's a group of like-minded people all saying, you know what, this is something that we want to change. We're putting our minds together to do it, and then being consistent with it over a long period of time. That's how you change culture.
Yep. So
and you might not see it. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, shout out to Kung Fu CJ with the $2 super jet. Now that is awesome, man. I appreciate that. Absolutely. All right, cool, man. Have you heard of Karen Hunter?
Until you brought this young lady up recently, no.
Okay. I mean, I hadn't heard of her, but I've been following Franck Zanu since that whole question about the what is culture, or blacks don't have culture. But I saw this, man. I was like, man, I gotta show this to Reason. We gotta just play some snippets of this, man, because I really want you to see. I want you to see two elements of culture, two clashing elements of culture on display, right? Now, Karen Hunter, she has a YouTube following of almost 300,000 subs, so people like this, right? So there's people that follow this, and to me, she is just an example of a nasty black woman, and I hate to say that, and I really hate to say that.
Okay,
but this is true.
Okay, now, and I'm sorry. Were you going to say something else? Because I wanted to specifically. Now, you said I hate to say that. You also said earlier before the segment, you were like, I don't like talking bad about black people. So my whole thing is, when are we going to get to a point? Because this is quite frankly how I look at it. And maybe I'm just too red pill for that. In which it doesn't matter what the race is. Stupidity is stupidity. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, having nothing to do with how the person looks. And if they just end up looking like that, it is what it is. We can't feel bad about calling out bad behavior and stupidity.
No, I mean,
no matter who it is.
Listen, man, I understand what you're saying. And granted, like I don't necessarily feel bad about it per se, but I mean, I'm gonna say that to, I don't know, man, but it's just, I guess my mentality is that I think we're better than this. And it's like, man, this is why Jesus wept. It's because like, man, come on, like
this in particular. Okay,
man, like, come on, God created you to be so much more, and you choose to do this, like be the lowest of low, right? You don't listen. You're emotional. I'm gonna just play some of this, man. So where am I? So she opens up. If you haven't seen it, like there's the clip of Frank Zanu responding to the fact that, or stating that African Americans have no culture. Now, as I mentioned earlier, like I don't necessarily agree with the framing, like saying that they don't have culture, but I definitely understand what he's referencing. Again, but I think there's a subculture, and that subculture, particularly amongst blacks, is a clash between those that are willing to accept American culture and those that are saying, no, I got to reject it. And they tend to favor things like socialism, communism, more communal. And I don't want to say that, because a communal culture, like the ones you mentioned, Reason, about living in the same home, multi-generational living, those can fit within the American culture. But it's like they are so adamant in rejecting America, that this is the culture that creates. So this is her. She's created a podcast and she's become economically successful, but she hates America, clearly. So we'll play a couple of them.
okay.
Like hip hop, not hip hop. I mean, I don't want to.
Look,
yes, I feel like
you haven't thought about it. It's fine. Don't make things up.
I'm not making it up.
Okay,
I feel like
then educate me. You feel. You should know.
Okay.
You were born and raised
right.
here.
Bring it down, Smith. Bring it down. Do you stand by that, Frank Zanu?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're talking to somebody who's not African American and asking her questions. You don't have a problem with that? You don't think that was a little...
So that conversation was the Haitian conversation. So it was.
But you said African American. You brought black people in. You didn't say Haitians.
No, I'm saying the conversation I had with Nancy was Haitians can fix Haiti. It was in that conversation that this came out, and it was a soundbite on TikTok. Now, when I went to the W.E.B. Du Bois Center in Ghana, I was a young fellow when first we went, and there was a sound.
So what do you think about her attitude already, man?
This young lady with the gray hair.
Yeah.
I quite frankly, she sounds like any other. I mean, it's her job to pull out what she wants to pull out. It's her job to make him uncomfortable. It's like and I forgot who was interviewing Dr. Jordan Peterson when he did that infamous moment, gotcha. You know, about it's the exact same way. It's her job to make him uncomfortable. It's just not bothering him. You know what I mean? So his thought process.
Her attitude, man. I think this is her attitude, bro.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. I mean, she just seems like that kind. Even in listening to what he was saying, she was like, okay, at this point, she's like, just cut it. Just yeah, you know. But like I said, I gotta hear more of this chick. But I mean, she just sounds like right now any other person that's job is to create friction with the person that they're interviewing.
Okay.
No roots, and it hit me. I wrote it down in my notebook. Now, when you listen to a lot of the writings about slavery, the first thing you hear, even in the United States, is about how our life, our culture, our language, and history was taken away from us. That is very common.
So
in
what?
songs,
Okay,
music.
okay.
I met Alex Haley's.
Hold on. You're from Benin.
Yeah.
You're not there now. You're here. You're an American citizen. You came here. You left there to come here. Right. The homie kingdom. We love the Black Panther and all of this, and the Dora Milaje based on the homie warriors. And
sorry.
Woman King. We love that.
Pause that, please.
She loves the Woman King.
Okay, so so some context. The Woman King, for those that didn't see that movie, I'm not trying to, you know what? I won't spoil the movie, but I'll spoil some of the history. The Woman King, those were the bad guys. like they were 100% a part of the slave trade. Like, like that. There you go. Like, and quite frankly, and it was terrible because a lot of the female warriors in that died as well.
I want you guys I want you to listen to more of what she's saying, man.
Yeah, go for it. Please do.
But the Dahomey Kingdom, one of the ways in which your origin, your country of origin, Benin, conquered, they would sell their people into bondage to the Europeans, into this transatlantic slave trade. When you lost, you got sold. And every year, you got 333,000 pounds sterling for black bodies to be sold into the transatlantic slave trade, which would be worth about $16.7 million annually every single year. It was Benin known as the Slave Coast.
Look at Frank, though. He's just
of the flourishing
keeping
trade
it cool
of human bodies. That was your protocol. That was the way in which you dominated. And it went on for more than a decade. In the 1780s to 90s, Benin sold more than 102,000 bodies into bondage. So epigenetically, one could argue
that's the biggest word she knows.
That part of your way of knowing is to sell out your people. One could argue that.
Hey, you see this question, man? Like, black people are so good at this, though, man. I will give it to black people. They were able to take a little
piece of something,
and make this whole. I really believe black people should embrace the role of entertainment, and God, how many people do you know that can just take a piece of a story and then create this whole vast image and make it so believable that now this becomes what happened?
You know what? Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I have this correct. I want to have the time. What year? Yeah. Okay. So the Homie tribe, okay, that she's talking about is the 19th century. That is, let me give you a little 1894. So I want to make sure. So do I have it correct that she's saying that, you know what, your thought process is something that took place in the late 1800s? Is that basically like saying, you know what, we should feel bad because we have ancient ancestors that were I mean, are there any of us that are slaves today? I don't know. I don't think there anybody that's alive right now.
Karen Hunter is a slave, and I don't know how her name is Karen. It should be the Keisha, the black version of Karen. Like, this is I don't know.
I mean, do you get what I'm saying though? She's pretty much saying, if I understand this correctly, she's pretty much saying that, you know what, your thought process right now is based on the sins of your great, like your distant relative ancestors.
Yeah, she is telling him that his whole being is being a sellout. That's what she said. So you're clearly a sellout. Hold on, I want you to hear. I want you to keep going, man. Hold on.
Maybe that's in your epigenetics, because to me, to say something so boldly that black people have no culture, with no references, and you're talking to somebody that's not black, you're talking to somebody who clearly wasn't educated enough, you're throwing questions at her. Give us two things, two values. Well, I can give you 15. I'm gonna give you more, but family and integrity. And we don't really do well with sellouts. That's another black cultural value.
She said, I give you 15 and then just gave 2.
Well, no, but I'm saying when she said that, she just threatened him. That was a threat. We don't do well with sellouts.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a threat. I don't know.
But I was looking at that and I was saying, wow. And you stand by it. So you still stand by Black people have no culture?
So Benin didn't sell slaves.
Didn't. They sold. I did my research. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe you don't know it.
I know.
Because it's clear to me that you don't know a lot of things, but you don't know it.
Allow me to explain what I mean.
He's taking it well.
So if this is a culture, how do you communicate with this element of culture? I don't know. So an element of our culture has been so far subverted. Like I don't know I don't think you can. God has to save it, and God has always had to save it. But there's this element of culture that, she's leading that, one of the leaders in that element of culture, I would say, right? Or she's a good example, I should say, a good example of this element of particularly Black culture that rejects America.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, and dude. So yes, there is a part of Black culture that is like this. Okay, this
I'm saying not all.
No. That's why I said now. Jesse Lee, not all. No. That's like this. There is a part of Black culture that is so hardened and so far. I'm not going to say so far, and when I say so far to the left, I'm not talking the left side or the right side, but it's just so off kilter that normality is, and even what's normal is relative, but what would seem normal for American culture in general, she's just so far away from. She's so far away from, to the point in which you could see in her mannerisms of how it's affecting, like, the emotion behind it. There's no logic, no pun intended. There's no logic or reason behind any of these statements that she's making to him. She feels a specific way and it's emoting out of her. Like, it's bad. And I just commend my man because, was it Zanu? I commend him because he's just staying very reserved through this.
Yes. I love it. So I'm gonna let him.
And it would be hard to do to a lot of people. That would be hard to do,
yeah.
Especially and he's African.
Yep.
You can tell the difference because I truly believe if she was that way to a Black American man, who more often than not probably was raised by a single mother, received all of that emotion from her in the way that he was raised, he's not giving her what she wants. She wants a fight.
All right, so it's interesting because she does bring on a Black man later on, but I want to hear his response real quick.
Please, I really want to have a very respectful conversation. So you said Benin sold. Benin did not sell slaves because when slaves were bought from that region, there was no Benin. There was no country called Benin.
The homie.
No.
Okay. Well, whoever, it's the same landmass, correct? Same people?
No, at all. They have nothing in common. Please allow me. The place that became called Dahomey was at independence. The place you're calling Benin was not there. Dahomey was not there during slavery. What was there were tribes. Agbome, the women warriors you mentioned, they are not from Dahomey or from Benin. They are from only one tribe called the Agbome tribe. That region had about 52 different, distinct tribes. Only one of them captured slaves from either the Aja, the Yoruba, the Bana, or the Nagongo areas and sold. They didn't sell their people. An example, if there is a war in, let's say, Asia or in Europe, Italians captured Portuguese or Spanish and English and sold them to the Chinese. They haven't sold their own people, even though the Caucasians who live in the region. So the slaves sold were only sold by Agbome tribe.
Right.
Way before it became Dahomey as a republic that forced 52 different tribes to come together by the French and call the place Dahomey. The people, the other 51 tribes that are now part of the country called
This is a history lesson.
including
Yeah, it
Agbomen,
is. It is.
they all, including my father's tribe, we hate the Agbomens because we know they capture people and they sell them. So that is the correction I want to make. So saying
but you're actually making my point that
Is that right?
notion that somehow you
How?
are not part of when I talk about Black culture, it is the oneness. It is the understanding that we may be something torn and new, but we are in this thing together that got us to begin with.
So that's the thing about Black culture, man. But here's the thing, man, and this is what you see in so many urban environments, is that the culture has to accept the best and the worst. You're not supposed to put the bad guys in jail. You're supposed to accept it because they're part of the culture. You're supposed to just, and this is why they allow the kids to run amok in places like Baltimore, where they're carjacking every night and robbing and stealing the stores, Black stores, by the way. And they're saying, no, crime is down, things are fine. We don't need to put them in prison and things like that, because she's sitting here saying the African tribes were wrong for rejecting the one tribe. The 51 tribes were wrong for rejecting the one, because you know what? You're selling us out. You're selling us out because the one tribe that did go out and capture slaves, they're one of us.
So we have to be a part of that.
That's what she's saying.
No. That's my point. So basically, we have to be a part of that. She's saying that, you know what? And the crazy thing is, it's 51 other tribes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, so basically, the absolute one bad apple, the statistical margin of error, statistically, that one group defines all of us culturally.
Yep.
Because we have to, that's the most ridiculous, that is the most, like, there's, to have that thought process is just like, you're a waste of, people like that who think like that are like a waste of space. You know what I mean?
Are you saying Karen Hunter is a waste of space?
You can call it what you want to call it. I'm going to say people that think that people who think outside of the box are an issue, and they are forced to, you are effectively enslaving me and keeping me as a piece of what I don't have anything to do with. I don't have kids that are running around Baltimore City acting stupid.
Yep.
I don't have like, I don't know multitudes of people. Guess what? All my closest friends are married with kids. Like, I don't understand the culture. I'm not a part of that culture that puts, I tell my daughters daily, I treat you like this because it is my job to help you find the correct mate to be with. It is my job as a parent, as a father, to help you do that. And I refuse to put, if we are going to join families and I am going to have this incredible guy for you to marry, it is my job to make sure I don't put a trash child out into society.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't get it that this chick would think that people like me, people like you, people like the people that we all know that have made a conscious effort to change what we would consider culture, to create something new. And we are forced to be a part of that. This chick is absolutely not a waste of my time.
It's interesting how they want you to assimilate with that particular element of culture, but when you assimilate with American culture, you're ostracized. So shout out to the chat, Pastor Damon. I see you.
What's going on, man?
You definitely catch him on Christian Conservative. He's often featured on Christian Conservative. So definitely check him out on Sunday. The next episode is on Sunday. Shout out to Sorrel. I don't know, Sid. Sorrel Sid. Yeah, the YNs, man. That's
warriors.
really we're supposed to just accept them.
You know what? Shout out to Pastor Damon again. He would probably say that culture today is like what would he say? Are like descendants of the tribe of Dan. he would probably say that. I'm not quoting him. I'm not quoting him at all. He didn't say that. But I'm saying that's he would, like I'm saying, all these YNs, they come from Dan.
Guys, go ahead and hit that like button. And share this stream. I want to, because she's about to bring in an expert, and I want you to see.
Boy. Wait, he's not the expert?
No, he's not an expert, because she's going to bring in a historian. Shout out to LJ. Isn't that another form of toxic empathy that leads to suicidal empathy? Yeah. You're right on.
Glad to have you late night, and you are correct. Reason from the tribe of Dan. I tell you.
Yeah. Right on. Good to see you too, Pastor Damon.
Good to see you, Pastor. Yeah, man.
All right, yeah. So let's play a little bit, because she ambushed him with this though.
Wait, he's not the. Are you saying he's not the? He's not the expert? Wait a minute.
No.
She's got someone else.
She's bringing someone else on to back her up.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
LJ, what's going on, sweetheart? How you doing?
And for you to come here and to make that somehow we don't have culture because of your lack of knowledge of what culture is.
What I'm saying, as science says, when you buy slaves, the danger of buying slaves is you rob them of their culture. That is, of course, a fact.
Okay, I'm going to bring in, because I'm very clear that I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to speak on things I do not know. I'm going to invite.
No, hold on. He did
the research, didn't she? She did
the research, right? But also, right, this guy's from Africa.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the thing about history and research, and this is a real life experience. I had a friend. He's a good friend of mine. He lives in the UK, and he's born and raised in the UK, right? We went to Philadelphia, and when we were in Philadelphia, we went to Independence Hall, looking at the Liberty Bell, and he's talking about, man, independence. You guys are claiming your independence. What are you claiming your independence from? I was like, you serious? You don't know? We're like, you guys, the British. So when it comes to like history, right? We don't really have a concept of British history the same way the British people don't have a concept of our history. Because to the British, this was just another war, and they lost the country. It was just another war in their long list of wars in the grand scheme of history, right? But she's sitting here trying to give an African his history based on what she knows here, right? And he's telling the name of the tribes, the names of the people in the areas that she's referring to from our history books, when he's giving the legacy accounts.
Like, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, so she's actually practicing the level of white supremacy that she wants to hate. Because if she's dictating to him what his history is, as a man from Africa, he can't know, right?
Right. This guy has the scribes, like from in his house. Probably.
Well, the irony, it doesn't, it's just so much irony in this, right? Because she's telling an African he doesn't know African history because she's an African American, and she does know African history. You see that?
No, absolutely.
You see that? All right, absolutely. So here we go, man.
Invite everybody who is not a historian. If you read some things, or you went down YouTube rabbit hole, you are not an expert.
Yes, LJ.
You have not lived your life
Aaron.
Studying this. And I'm going to invite you to stop talking about things you don't know. But in the meantime, I'm going to also.
You haven't said something I don't know. That's the point. What is it I don't know? I've lived.
That black people don't have. You believe that black people don't have culture.
But I'm asking you to explain to me.
I'm going to actually
uprooted you from your original habitat, and they took everything away from you. What is wrong to say these people's culture have been taken away from them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
Okay, well, I'm going to actually bring somebody in who knows more about this than I do, who studies Africa, who studies Black history, who teaches at Clark Atlanta.
She's bringing somebody in
to answer
that she
question.
likes. That's all that she's saying. Who studies Black history? Who studies African American studies? Like the dude's from Frank Zanu's from Africa. Like he's from the regions that you're talking about.
Yeah, he literally said in his explanation, he was like, "This is my dad's tribe." He said that as he was giving he was giving out the Bible like it was like, you know, somebody big. What is that? Is that Corinthians? No. First. In which it's not the letters to Corinth. It's
Man,
but they're talking about he starts going down the list of this person begat that person. He literally just did that.
Yep.
He literally was just like, yes,
Yeah.
all the way up to his dad's tribe. And she's sitting here like, at this. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
So we're going to bring in Dr. Daniel Black when we come back. Frank Zanu is here. He's made a statement before the break in quoting W.B. Du Bois, who's he has a whole center in Ghana in Accra. There was a quote there that you quoted.
Accra.
And you went on a talk show, or you were on your own show, you invited somebody on and you said Black people have no culture. And I asked you, do you stand by that? And you said yes, because of that quote. So I thought it would be great to have somebody who actually teaches this to come on and inform all of us why that is.
Inform all of us.
I said you were wrong, but you know, this is your view and your view can't be wrong, but why it's not helpful. Let's say it like
Shout
that.
out
It's
Jason.
not helpful. So let me welcome Professor of Africana Studies
Big,
at
what's up, man?
Clark Atlanta in Atlanta, author of many books. Dr. Daniel Black is here. Hi.
Dr. Daniel Black. Now, how do you think this guy's going to talk, man? Do you think he's going to have, you know, maybe a voice, a tone like mine, where we just talk, or do you think he's going to come across like the preacher-esque, like the scholarly, like, you know, I don't know, like better than now?
You want to know the truth? I think he's going to sound like he comes from Atlanta.
All right, let's see.
And that's very and my wife would be mad at me for saying this, but I hear there's a lot of do funny. You know what? Never mind. Go ahead.
Fake Dr. Umar.
Really? Oh, jeez.
Here we go.
Uh-oh. Your internet. Look at God. Go ahead.
Wait. Yes. Brother Frank, how are you? My brother.
Yeah, brother Frank. Brother Frank, how are you, my brother?
Oh my gosh.
Brother Frank.
Oh my gosh.
My brother.
Doing very well, thank you.
Good, very good. I first want to say that I am on here.
Dude, there we go. Hold on, LJ. You got me. That's that LJ. You got me. Sitting here.
Zesty.
LJ, you got me. That's what I said. He's probably gonna sound like Atlanta.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. First, I want to say,
oh my gosh.
To enjoy a beautiful exchange. I am not at all on here to attack or to in any way incite rebellion. You know, I certainly believe in communication, as Karen does. I certainly believe in truth, like all three of us do. And
man, first off, as for you to come on with that introduction, man, that does kind of show how
one-sided.
No, not one-sided, but just it's not a masculine introduction.
Well, from her?
No, from him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I get that 100%. Yeah, I get that. I mean, but it's hard to get past the voice. You know, that's everything. Yeah, exactly, Pastor. That's literally.
So I think my son had one of those what do you call those megaphones? He had a little fake megaphone that had the little voice changer in it. That's what he sounds like. You know, he sounds like one of those voice changer voices.
Like, is this real?
Yeah.
You know, we all believe in integrity, and I think that
A quick pause. I'm sorry. I'll let you go. I honestly thought is this sped up?
Slightly, but
okay. Because no, the reason I'm asking is
I'll play it regular speed.
Like,
hold on, let me play it in regular speed.
That probably makes it sound a little worse.
I'll play it in regular speed for you.
Okay.
Can just offer this possibility, right? I think what could really
yeah, nothing.
It's just as bad. It's actually worse.
Where's the speed? Playback speed. It's slightly sped up here, man.
Yeah.
Help this dialogue is that there's a premise here that I think is problematic, but I don't think it's yours, Mr. Frank. I think it's what people have taught in the world.
In the world.
And most of us have taken it because it's just what historians have said. And that premise is this.
Hold on. Isn't he a historian? Right. So it's like these people contradict themselves like really quickly. It's just because of what historian has said. But Dr. Karen or whatever her name is bringing on this historian to debunk what Dr. Frank Zanu is saying. Now, Frank Zanu, I don't think is necessarily a historian. He's a journalist, and that's what he's been going around and observing, not teaching. You know, he do lectures and things like that, but he's observing. These are my observations, not my. This is my written history that I'm, lecturing on. These are my observations, my family observations. These are my cultural observations when I travel the world. And he's a journalist. He's a trained journalist. So he's trained to write and articulate these things in a way that can be communicated with the masses or with others or discussed. So, we have Daniel Black here, Dr. Daniel Black, who's a historian who's also saying the reason why we have this worldview is because of historians. So to me, he's clearly admitting that people like Dr. Black, like himself, are the problem. No, I mean, that's my logical brain. I'm just saying.
Africans were enslaved in Africa and scattered around the world.
In the world.
Everything, all their culture, I think you were saying this a minute ago, was stripped from them. That's the error. That's the error in this whole thing. Because a process cannot strip culture, the totality of culture, from a people. Culture sometimes is in the artifacts of what people have, but culture is also in the flesh.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is absolutely terrible. This is absolutely terrible. I am by no means a doctor, teacher, scholar. But I mean, just this sounds very Love. Is that the guy's name from a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
this sounds very saying a lot of stuff that means a lot of. This is so nuanced. You know how like we speak in generalities, and then you'll have someone say, "Well, not everybody, not all, not every." Yeah, but quite frankly, if you have the vast majority of every individualized situation turns into what would be considered a statistic, and that statistic is the majority of, again, esoteric. Absolutely. Like abso-freaking-lutely. Everybody has their own individualized situation, but those situations put together still create a statistic. And yes, that small statistical margin of error is what it is. Yep. But if the majority of is something, it doesn't matter if it's individualized or not. The majority of does this. This guy is pretty much saying, you know what? None of that matters.
Yep.
This guy is saying it's part of your DNA.
Correct.
That is the stupidest shit I've ever. Forgive me, and I'm trying. You know, Shelly talks about on Pop and Politics. She's trying to like, but some things you guys have to forgive me. I haven't been very reasonable lately because I've just been coming into contact with a lot of stupidity, and this is a part of that. So,
goes their culture goes with them. Pieces of that culture in the dance. You know, it's in the body. In the language, we brought African languages to America because we spoke African languages in Africa. We were certainly denied speaking those languages after a while once we were enslaved. But those languages and the influences of those languages are still in our Black English tongues right now. Right?
Okay.
This is highly untrue.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you why. So, do you know, like the whole Baltimore accent, right? Is actually like from the Irish. The Irish and like the northern England. The way Baltimoreans speak, for example, and talking about Black Baltimoreans, it's all English. It's all like old English. That's not a slave dialect. It's not, and it's mostly adopted by Black people.
No,
you know, when you hear the Baltimore Irish, the do and to and all that stuff. That's Old English.
That just over time, it's not something that was.
It's not African.
No, it's not.
The South
at all.
The long draws from the South. That I forgot what that was from, but it wasn't from Africa. No, I'm just saying. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You know what? But Pastor he hit me up with the Ephesians 4:29 reason. He was like, "Bro, calm down. No corrupt talk, avoid foul, abusive, or unwholesome language." I get you.
Yeah,
I understand. I'm working on it, Pastor. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. So. Oh my goodness.
See, there you go, LJ. Yep. Oh, where is it? LJ. Yep. Baltimore English or Balmorese comes from a mix of 18th century British dialects, Scottish and Irish. Yep. There we go.
And you'll also finds like a lot of that on Maryland is one of the weird places in the United States. It's got like 180 plus islands. I don't know if people knew this. In Maryland, there are a lot of from islands that were man-made to ones that were, and if you go to one specific one, it's called Island.
Man, you over here doing research.
Yeah, no, it's all it does is it just proves that, because if you go to this island in Maryland, it is really, really, really old English.
Yeah.
To the point in which things are, and I was trying to explain it to my youngest daughter. I'm like, things are stated backwards. They're like 200. Yeah, Maryland has 281 named out. Absolutely. You know what, LJ? I appreciate you, my dude. You were taking care of
LJ's all Maryland.
She's getting
Maryland all the way.
Yeah. No, but yeah, because and they're talking about, and I can't remember the name of the island. If she pops that up, it would be great because I'll know it when I see it.
Smith Island?
No,
Smith Island.
no. But
that's where they make the cakes.
No, but how they say things are backwards, and it actually means that the things are so old English. It's and the fact that they believe that these are coming from other places.
Well, the point is this dialect in our tongue, so to speak. It's not genetic, is what we're trying to say. It's not a genetic thing.
No.
So the premise here is that African people who were enslaved and taken from Africa lost all of Africa in the process of being enslaved. That's the error.
Is that right? Is that what he's saying?
Much of the culture came with us. Then through transmutation and synthesis, we revised through some force and through some voluntary actions. We revised a lot of African culture in order that it could fit the context and the circumstances and the brutality under which we lived in this diasporic place, right?
So we recreated
America.
Yeah. So is that what he's saying? We recreated that?
And that's what goes into a lot of the African Black American way of thought, is that we were the creators and inventors of a lot of things. And I don't understand that argument, because if you're the creator and inventor and you're so godlike in that capacity, why is it that everything you do gets taken over and taken from you? And are you saying as a community we have no capacity to protect, to defend? Is
they believe that? Well, I mean, history has kind of proven that it's terrible.
But I'm saying, if we're the creators of life, we're the creators of culture, and we're the creators of, we built this country, and we've done all these extraordinary things. Now, I'm not saying there haven't been Black people that done extraordinary things, but what I am saying is, if we've done those things, why is it that we've been great? We've mastered literally every other element of life, but cannot seem to protect it.
Well,
I don't get it.
No,
it's a rhetorical question for me right now.
No, it's the fact that, and I truly believe this, it's the fact, and I said it earlier, that we as a people are 80% of a religious standing. here in the United States. We're Christian, we're Muslim, we're all of that good stuff. We are. And
I'm
are
just
we
a
damned?
Christian.
Okay, no, I get that, but are we just damned as a people? Because we're the most religious group. And I mean, it just makes no sense that as of right before COVID.
But name a religion that you just mentioned that doesn't talk about protection.
That doesn't talk about protection?
Yeah, I mean,
Christianity.
Even if not true Christianity, but I'm saying
no.
Like
you said it here in the United States. The reason that Christianity is a joke here in the United States is because they don't talk about protection. Because if they did talk about protection, they would have to realize the fact that the thing that works best in the world is a patriarchy, and that would cause men to be in their place. And again, like I said, men being in their place in the Black church is a problem because that gets rid of where the money comes from. And I said that earlier.
All right.
So they can't talk about protection because if you talk about protection, you'd have to talk about families, and you'd have to talk about women being women and men being men, and we report up, and God talking to men and men taking care of family. But you know what? You can't do that in the culture of the Black church in the United States, because that's where your money is.
I mean, you're talking about protection in the form of order, but I am talking about protection in the form of where are your defenses, right? Armor.
Where's your order?
Even the armor of God has a sword. You know what I mean? No, that's all I'm saying. Let's go.
No, I get it. I'm sorry.
There's much culture here that came along.
This guy's funny,
and there's much culture that we revised and gave birth to once we got here. For example, you get jazz music in America, but jazz has its roots in Africa. But the jazz itself is absolutely an American continuum, on the American aesthetic continuum in terms of culture. You get gospel music in America. You don't get gospel music in Africa. What you get now is Christian music in Africa. That
they got to make the distinction.
But gospel music is a cultural regenerative act that happened in the Americas that has certainly found its way back to Africa. Even traditions like jumping the broom, when we as enslaved people,
we invented jumping,
created that ritual here. African people created that ritual as a part of African culture, as a means of creating a ritualized way whereby we could signify the validity of our own marriages and relationships. But that is particularly an African American cultural phenomenon, right? And so what I'm simply saying is I understood the premise of what you were saying, Mr. Frank, right? What most people misunderstand, though, is that we brought a culture with us and we modified and transmuted it once we arrived in this place called America.
Because
hold on.
Okay.
He just said thank you. Hold on, watch it.
Place called America.
Thank you.
What might you say to that, sir?
No, that is the man, that right there was, to me, a classic response. Because he said a whole bunch of nothing. It's just like Frank just sat there and watched him and said, thank you. All right, what are you going to say?
No, that's just... So, again, he's saying that we weren't stripped of culture. Is that this guy's premise?
He's saying that we carried culture with us, even through the DNA and through the flesh. And,
I think that's just stupid because as they stated earlier in the lady stated earlier in the show tonight, if they get rid of your language, okay, if you're no longer allowed to speak your language, how can you bring culture with you when you're not even allowed to speak? You know, I tell you, language is one of the is probably one of the most basic parts of anybody's culture. Your language.
Yeah.
If you go to another place, and here's how incredibly how incredible language is weaved into the part of culture. All right. If you go to another country and you take the time to learn just a little bit of their language in another country, they will treat you completely different.
Mm-hmm.
They will treat you like, holy cow. You took the, if you guys, Xiaomi is a great channel I follow. The guy says, this white dude, he literally, all he does is learn other languages, right? He's fluent in all of these other languages. And then he goes to other countries and surprises them by speaking to them in their language.
Oh, wow.
And you should see the facial expression, how they change. You're like, holy cow, they're just giving them stuff like, here, no, man, you don't have to just, I'm telling you, the language is like the basics. It's basic when it comes to your culture. And if you're telling me that we no longer have a language anymore, I think you're absolutely ridiculous to say they did not do that from us. It's in your DNA. No, man, that's like saying, you know what? We're going to force you to serve another god. What do you think happens with that next generation? Do you think the previous generation, how they thought, do you think really that form of culture will be in their children? Absolutely not. It will be completely forgotten.
Yep.
This guy has no clue what he's talking about.
It's not DNA. All right, so
it's not
let's.
DNA.
I didn't hear.
And let me just clear this up, because if you felt an ambush.
Hold on.
I feel.
Thank you.
Hold on.
What I can though is that
go back to the response.
we brought
This is
a
funny.
culture with
This
us,
is funny.
and we modified and transmuted it once we arrived in this place called America.
Thank you.
What might you say to that, sir?
I said thank you.
I thought I didn't hear.
And let me just clear this.
That was the answer. Thank you.
She reiterated. He said thank you.
Thank you.
Because if you felt an ambush coming. I feel like if people have airwaves, we are in a space right now where there's so much division, particularly there are these culture wars going on right now between blacks and Caribbeans. That's on purpose, because divided we are conquered. That's how we got conquered. You just told us the story of the whole area known as, well, it was first, the French West Africa, and it was divvied up, but all of Africa has been divvied up. And you said you hate these people because they sold these people, but we're all one people. And if we don't understand that, we're going to be conquered again. And if people have microphones and they're constantly out here saying these things that animate a negative vibe about black people, it's no good. And especially,
so she's calling me no good, and I will accept the no good label, and I reject having to assimilate in a culture with those that are destructive to the culture. And if she's saying that is the cause of the division, I am happy. What's the phrase? To separate the wheat from the shaft, or was it a chaff? Whatever the word is. I'm happy to separate that, because that's what we're supposed to do. And oftentimes, and this is also when these people get really, I imagine Karen is someone that's not a Christian, but she's one of those spiritual people. And, because but she'll say, this is one of the reasons why she rejects Christianity, is because Christianity, Jesus did not come to unite.
He came to separate.
He came to separate, right? And ultimately we're trying to separate the children of, from the children of God from the children of Satan, pretty much. I mean, those that want to follow a destructive path, we need to separate from. That's why our kindredness is with people of, like mind, like spirit, like, have the same values. Wheat from the chaff. Yeah. So we are supposed to separate because we don't want to unify it. And I think that really, when it comes to black culture, that is one of the big battles, is that people like Karen Hunter are saying we need to assimilate with those that are destroying our community, just like she's suggesting to Frank Zanu that the 51 tribes should have welcome the 52nd
one,
tribe in.
That one tribe. Yep. Yeah.
Despite the fact that they're capturing and selling people into slavery.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's we need to unify because the perception of us is off. So if we're accepting that, then what does that make us look like as a whole? Oh, yeah,
they'll take anybody.
I mean, I don't know, man. We get to a couple more minutes of this.
When it comes out of a black mouth, it creates the division, or it foments the division, or it seasons the division that is already brewing. For what purpose? So I really just wanted to say, like, what's your purpose?
When people hear things,
Mm-hmm.
you make individual conclusions as you hear it. It may not be why will I come from Benin Republic and be saying things? I was speaking not long ago in Boston, and I said, Benin has no culture. Now, I don't understand what at all it's offensive when people, but I was lucky that it was a monologue and it waited until a Q&A. So somebody asked me to explain. And I said, you cannot raise your child as a Beninois, but you can raise your child as an Ajah tribe, a Bome tribe, with that tribe. But now they are calling us Benin. And if you take 5 Beninois, people from Benin are called Beninois. If you take 5, let me use Nigeria as more popular. If you take 5 different Nigerians to France or any outside country, and you ask them, what do you speak in Nigeria? They will start looking at each other and say, it depends on who you ask.
Right.
If you ask them, what is a Nigerian culture? They will say, it depends on who you ask. If you ask them, what do you eat in Nigeria? They will say, it depends on who you ask. If you ask a Nigerian, 5 different ones, Igbo, Yoruba, Bendelai, Calabar, Plateau, Sokoto, what is the value system of Nigerians? They will say, it depends on who you ask. But if you ask these same 5 questions to a Yoruba, he will give you right answers. So it means when the countries were created, the people who once had distinct culture with which they raised their children, traditions, norms, and everything, when they told them to become Nigeria or Benin or Ghana, they don't have anything at all in common. They are the Tower of Babel. And I have to educate myself that we have a problem. When I call my nieces and cousins, they cannot finish a sentence in my language completely without adding English or French. The French and English itself, they can't even speak it properly without us adding. That is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see the problems we are suffering on the continent today. It's all because, in some cases, like Kenya, 42 different tribes that have nothing in common with each other are forced to believe that they have a country. So I did a test in Kenya. I went to speak on the university campus. There were about 250, and I asked them how many.
So I mean, in a lot of ways, he's trying to be on their side when it comes to let's say the issue, dare I call it an issue, when it comes to the subject of colonization, or when it comes to the idea of let's get these communities in one unified, in synced manner. So he is saying that when you try to do these things, you can effectively rob people of their culture, right? Because their language, their traditions, their norms, and what they're used to do not fit into a colonized way of life, right? You know, the colonization requires us to speak one language, wants to, you know, we have to have some level of shared culture in order to be able to communicate, to form a government, to form systems. But if we can't communicate, then we can't, that's a moot point at this point. And to me, he is trying to, I guess, kind of share a worldview, share an idea that, you know, this isn't an emotional thing. This is just the effects of colonization. When you're trying to put all these people together and say they have a country, that's not having a country. That's not having a culture. That's not having anything. But when you look at America, I mean, most black people here speak English. We can understand that, right? Most black people here and most people in the country speak English. I mean, it's changed with the whole immigration thing, but it's a matter of we're able to communicate. We're able to understand the systems of government that are in place. We have the Declaration of Independence. We have the Bill of Rights that can create a national culture that each subculture can then fit into based on your community's norms and customs, and that you can communicate that, right?
You did say that in the beginning. You kind of brought it full circle. You really did, because what you're saying is pretty much what you stated in the very beginning. The United States is a culture, and inside of that are a whole bunch of other subcultures.
Yeah.
I mean, and quite frankly, I guess I can say what I say. He pretty much said what I said a little while ago. I mean, the guy said that, you talk to some of his family members, they cannot finish a sentence in his language, which is the proof of how important language actually is when it comes to culture. And again, culture is what a group rewards, tolerates, or punishes repeatedly over time. And if you do that, if you bring a whole bunch of people together that don't speak the same language, that don't think the same way, that haven't grown up and you just put them all together and call them this, a generation from now, even at that time, you will still not have anything that has anything to do with culture. You won't.
Yeah. So, guys, again, we're going to continue to talk about this because, again, there is a culture war that has already started. It's already taken place. And the communists were on a long march to really sow the seed of division. And it has worked, I think, particularly in the Black community, from the destruction of the family to the promotion of promiscuity. We see what's happening in our education system. But they talk about the communist long march on how they play the long game. I think we need to be on our long march back to restoring order and faith, family, and freedom, and ultimately, economic independence. And and really, to me, I think it starts with bringing awareness to these things. But also, culture creates a worldview, right? And that worldview, how do each subculture kind of see the world? Like when you think about the worldview, of a woman like Karen Hunter, her worldview is one of victimhood, blaming someone else, blaming others, rejecting America. She doesn't fit into she rejects the American way, right? Despite it being fortunate enough to bring her a platform, got hundred thousands of subscribers and stuff like that, but they don't see that part. They use the benefit, because we had the socialists. If you missed that episode that we had a socialist on, their goal is to destroy capitalism. Their goal is to dismantle and for the revolution. They're no longer quiet about it. You see Zoran Mamdani, you see the chick that he's endorsed, where she's basically saying, well, 9/11 is okay because of all the genocide that has happened in America, that Americans have done. They're advocating for Maduro and some of the socialist dictators that we see. They're allies with China and Russia. So we're in a cultural war. So we're going to continue to talk about culture, but the culture that we want to build, right, and that we're building, is one of independence, economic independence, one of truth, one of freedom, one that values family, one that's blunt, one that brings back shame, ultimately, man.
Absolutely.
So closing thoughts, man. What you got before we get out of here, bro?
No, it has been an outstanding year. There's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs, this and that. My daughter said something very interesting tonight before the ladies show ended. She said, "Dad, wow, it's crazy. I woke up 365 days this year." I said, "God is awesome."
Yes.
I'm like, for real.
Yep.
So just take that, and that's be good with that. There are a lot of people that are going through a whole bunch of different things, so just stay strong, stay prayed up if that's your thing, and just take life one day at a time. Put your head down, grind, hustle, and make life not only about you but about the people who are around you, and live love and love life. And that's pretty much all I got to say about that. Happy New Year, you guys. That's it.
Oh, yeah, Happy New Year, man. It is New Year's Eve, man.
Mhm.
It's officially New Year's Eve.
Mhm.
So guys, this is the last show of Just the Guys for the new year. I mean, for 2025. So thanks for rocking with us. Again, economic independence in 2026. And guys, I think next year is the year of having fun, man.
You got to.
One thing I learned, I learned this from President Trump, especially in the new No Kings thing. Guys, you gotta have fun. Like, one thing that I've noticed, you gotta be a joyful warrior, because it is an honor, it is a joy to fight for good, right? And oftentimes conservatives or whoever get caught up so much into the fight, wanting to be right, wanting to do, it's just this whole, you just get caught up, and you get bitter, you get resentful. And guys, we gotta let that go in 2026, man. So this is a year of having fun and fighting for economic independence. This is America's 250th birthday. When you think about how long our Constitution has been in existence versus other countries, right? That is an amazing feat. We've had one Constitution for 250 years, which is an amazing thing, right? So I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this year, and Happy New Year's to you guys. And remember, only monkeys litter. We out.
Facts. Later, you guys. Deuces.